Hello and welcome to the Female Huntress Archetype workshop. If your life needs more courage, resilience, and assertiveness, this workshop is for you. After connecting with this archetype, it will be easier for you to start facing challenges, setting boundaries, navigating transitions, taking initiative, and so much more. The Huntress archetype is courageous, determined, and resilient. This archetype embodies strength, bravery, and the willingness to fight for what is right. I too want to address the Huntress correlation with the first chakra. The first chakra is called root chakra for a reason. It is connected to your family, your lineage, the patterns, generational traumas, as well as gifts. Think of it as the roots of a tree. It receives nourishment from the environment where it's growing. And I want you to pay attention to your nourishment so that you can thrive. As a child, you didn't have the option to do so, but now you do. So first chakra covers adrenal glands, spine and lower body, large intestine, bones, and teeth. When balanced, you're feeling grounded, secure, and stable in life. And when you're unbalanced, or rather, when you have unbalanced first chakra, you might feel fear, insecurity, instability, lack of energy, and disconnectedness. Your connection with the root chakra and the Huntress archetype translate to your ability to direct your life force for meeting your goals and visions. Or in short, your power to manifest into physical reality. So let's jump in. There are 3 parts to this workshop. On YouTube, I will share the first part only, and if you want to access the rest, I invite you to check the link to my workshop down below in the description box. But let me share the goodies with you. The first part is a theory which will provide you with self-awareness, which I believe is the most important thing. You will learn all about the shadow aspect of this archetype, what happens if it's absent in your life, and how to tap into the brilliance. The second part is the experiential part, and in which you will go in the state of mind, which will connect you to your inner wisdom. And the last one is action or embodiment. The emphasis will be on experiential part because we live in an overflow of information. It's more important that you apply the knowledge rather than just consume it. I always love to give analogy of a cookbook. You can read all the recipes, but if you don't make any, you will still end up hungry. How is knowing your shadow helpful for you? What is your shadow? Everything you judge, deny, feel ashamed of, or hide related to yourself or others is most likely your shadow aspect. How do you get to that? Well, let's start with your creation. You were born into this life as pure love, radiant sunshine, who was also open and perceptive to the outside influence like a sponge. By the age of 7, you took in without questioning all beliefs from your parents, caregivers, and society. Things that are okay for you to do and the things that aren't okay for you to do. And that is what we call conditioning or socialization. Those early years, as well as later on in life, but early age were detrimental. If you ever behaved in a way that wasn't accepted by your parents, caregivers, or the environment, what your mind decided back then for you to survive, to get love, safety, and connection from the environment is that you had to deny or suppress those parts that weren't welcomed by others. And that is what we call shadow. Let's say that you were punished if you spoke your truth or were too loud, which meant that you had to change your behavior. It wasn't safe for you to be loud, and now you might have a hard time tolerating loud people. You might even equate being assertive as being bad. You might not be aware, but the way you make your decisions and behave, all of that stems from the conditioned mind, which means that a part of you is running on outdated beliefs and defense mechanisms. When you explore the archetypes, you will get awareness of your shadow, and you will have an opportunity to do something that will make a miraculous change to your energy. If you so choose, and I hope that that is the case, you will embrace all those outcast parts with love and compassion. Because the truth is, only you can do this. And here lies the power in that. My intention is for you to show up and live from the place of alignment with your heart. Because that way you can not only find your fulfillment or self-realization, but contribute to the creation of the universe and the world. And it's not about the scale of contributing, but about stepping into your role in this life. Let's look at the animal kingdom. We have these beautiful tiny ants on one hand and big whales on the other. None is better or more important. They both contribute to this world by being in their energy as themselves, and cannot go diving in the sea and live a life as a whale. It's impossible. Yet, so many of us were taught to or expected to be someone else that they are not. And maybe you recognize yourself in that. To harness your talents, power, and purpose in the most expansive way possible, as I mentioned, you need to show up as you are and accept yourself fully, especially your shadow part. And I'll talk more about the shadow in a moment. But let me introduce you to two stories that are connected with the Huntress archetype. Stories of light and shadow huntress. The first one is the story of Mulan, originated from Chinese folklore. Mulan is a courageous young woman who takes her father's place in the military by disguising herself as a man. She exhibits strength, determination, and resilience as she fights for what she believes in. Her greatest act of courage is that she's willing to defy societal norms to protect her family and save her country. She is the embodiment of the female huntress archetype. And I invite you for a moment to think about your own life. When did you fight for what was right, assert your needs, or perhaps gather all the strength to do something that you are terrified of? Your story doesn't have to be as extreme as Mulan's, but you have this archetype in you. When you have a healthy expression of this archetype, it empowers you to set boundaries, assert your needs, and express your desires and opinions. A strong connection to the huntress will give you physical and mental strength so that you will have the drive to achieve your goals and overcome obstacles that require courage and perseverance. And this will look different for everyone, obviously. What can happen sometimes is that you can't fully accept this archetype in yourself because you might have been wounded in your past. Perhaps you didn't have a safe female role model that would introduce you to this energy, which is what happened to me as well. So now you associate being a huntress archetype energy as something that you don't want to embody because it hasn't been safe. And this is now your shadow part. I will share the second story, and maybe just pay attention if there was a character in your life that exhibited somewhat similar qualities, but maybe on a way smaller scale. Okay? All right. So the second story, the shadow archetype, is The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. She obviously represents a variety of archetypes, but let's just stay focused on the Huntress only. Snow Queen is a powerful and icy figure who kidnaps a young boy, casts a spell on him, and keeps him isolated from people that love him. Her character is portrayed as relentless, cold-hearted, and driven by her agenda. However, as it usually happens in the stories, there is another character, a little girl, and her innocent love and compassion softens the queen's hardened heart. And that speaks to how love and compassion help transform the shadow aspect, such as power and control, in an example of the Snow Queen. As you can tell, I'm presenting you a cure for the shadow that you possess inside of your heart, which is, and I'm repeating myself, love and compassion. So, are you ready to welcome with compassion some parts of you that might still be in the shadow? The biggest fears and challenges for the Huntress archetype. Let's look at the biggest fears and challenges as I'm listing them. I want you to pay attention if anything applies to you, if you can relate to any of the following. And if you can, my invitation is for you to be curious, not judgmental. That's really crucial. Just pay attention, be an observer, be curious and compassionate. All right, let's go. First one is fear of vulnerability. Huntress has a strong desire to appear strong, which can get in the way of expressing vulnerability or admitting weakness, because that might be associated with being powerless or losing control. Next one is fear of failure. She's always striving for success and achievement. And when it's not matched, it can be perceived as a personal reflection of her worth. She may put immense pressure on herself to always succeed and fear the consequences of not meeting her own or other people's expectations. Next one is fear of losing control. She has a natural inclination to be in control of situations. She fears the unknown, unexpected changes and circumstances that she cannot manage or predict. Then we have the challenge of finding balance. Huntress can focus on her goals and tasks that she neglects self-care and other aspects of her life, which can lead to burnout. And last one is the challenge of healthy assertiveness. The struggle is finding a balance between assertiveness and aggression. While assertiveness is a strength, aggression is not. It's a fear response. So just hearing all of that, all of these, I'm wondering, do you feel any compassion for this archetype? Because underneath her behavior, there is a struggle, there is fear. I'm curious. Okay, let's look at the Huntress archetype shadow aspect. And again, as I'm going through the shadow aspects, Pay attention if you can relate to any of the following, and please, again, be compassionate towards yourself. That's the most important thing. All right, let's go. We have aggression. So seeking conflict rather than constructing solutions can be one of her traits, and also force or violence to get her way, disregarding the well-being of others. Then we have control issues. She might seek to dominate and manipulate situations and people. She might also struggle with trusting others and allowing them to have autonomy. Then we have recklessness. Huntress can act impulsively without considering the consequences. And that leads to hasty decisions, taking unnecessary risks, or engaging in self-destructive behaviors. Then we have suppression of emotions. Suppressing or denying her emotions, perceiving them as a sign of weakness, is one of her shadows. Prioritizing toughness and stoicism over emotional well-being can lead to emotional detachment and a lack of empathy. And the last one is internal conflict. Feeling torn between her desire for control and vulnerability and the need for connection. What if a woman doesn't have a connection to the Huntress archetype? I find this one particularly interesting. So pay attention if it relates to you in any way, so that you can establish a healthy connection with her, because you need that energy. You need that energy in your life. We all do when it's needed. So we have lack of assertiveness. Without the Huntress energy, a woman might struggle to assert herself in relationships, work, or personal matters. This can lead to difficulties in setting boundaries or stepping up for herself. Then we have fear of confrontation. Without this energy, she might avoid confrontations, leading to unresolved issues and unexpressed emotions. The next one is difficulty facing challenges. Without this strength, she might feel overwhelmed and defeated by life's difficulties, finding it hard to bounce back from setbacks. Low self-confidence. A woman might struggle with self-doubt and find it hard to take on new challenges and opportunities. Passivity. A lack of Huntress energy can lead to passivity, where she might wait for things to happen or rely excessively on others to solve her problems. We have 4 more. There is a lot, right? But they are so important, so pay attention. Thank you. So another one is difficulty in setting goals. So she might lack clear goals and ambitions, making it challenging to work towards her desires and aspirations. And she might be overwhelmed by fear, which means she might be excessively affected by fears, inhibiting her actions and decisions. She might struggle with resilience. She might find it hard to recover from setbacks, leading to a sense of hopelessness. Then it's dependency. She might heavily rely on others for decision-making and problem-solving, leading to a lack of autonomy. And avoidance of risks. She might avoid risk altogether, missing out on potential opportunities for growth and success. And I'm wondering, can you relate to any? And if you do, that's okay. Really, the most important thing is to have self-awareness, because when you do, you can change it. The power is in your hands. Trust that. What is the Huntress' biggest challenge that can become her biggest gift? The Huntress gift lies in embracing vulnerability and using it as a catalyst for growth and connection. By facing her fears, acknowledging her vulnerabilities, and allowing herself to be open and authentic, she can develop deeper levels of authenticity and emotional intimacy with herself and others. That allows her to connect more genuinely with others and form meaningful relationships, build on trust and mutual understanding. When a Huntress archetype embraces vulnerability as a source of courage and taps into its compassionate nature, she can inspire and empower others to do the same, which leads us to brilliance. Brilliance in a woman with this archetype. So look for this brilliance in yourself because you have it. I mean it. Her brilliance are strength, determination, and unwavering commitment. She possesses a sharp intellect and a keen intuition, which she combines with her fierce determination to achieve greatness. And it's not just about personal achievement, it is also about making a positive impact on the world. Her brilliance lies in her ability to harness her power for the greater good. She uses her strength and influence to fight for justice, advocate for the marginalized, and protect those in need. Her brilliance shines through in her ability to inspire and lead others. In her best, the Huntress is a radiant light that illuminates and inspires those around her to embrace their inner Huntress and create positive change in the world. For those of you who want to dive deeper and are committed to make lasting changes that happen when you work in the level of your subconscious mind, I invite you to check my training, 7 Main Female Archetypes. Become her, the woman you desire to be. And link is in the description box down below. And what do you do now that you have all this information? Here is my suggestion. Number 1, pay attention when fears and shadow attributes present themselves and be curious about them. Ask that part of you, what do you need from me to feel safe? Because as I said before, that part doesn't feel safe. That is your shadow part, and it only wants your love and compassion. So be kind, curious, and just ask, what do you need from me to feel safe? And number 2, I find even more important. In the next 14 days, I want you to notice all the times when you exhibit brilliance. This way, you can reinforce those qualities you wish to cultivate more and recognize that actually you possess them already. They aren't separate to you. And this is such a powerful gift that you can give yourself. If you want to commit to your greatness, you won't want to skip this step. I promise. Again, I invite you, if you want to dive deeper, check my workshop, 7 Main Female Archetypes, Become Her, the woman you desire to be. And thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you all of my love. Bye-bye.